Hello everyone, welcome to your Photoshop Creative Challenge. My name is Wade Acuff, and today we're going to learn a little bit about how variables work in Photoshop. If you want to get involved with these challenges, you will find a link in the description below, as well as links to our Discord. I believe Sam may throw those in chat for us as well. If you're watching this on YouTube as a replay, we are live over on behance.net/Adobe Live every weekday at 11 a.m. Central Time with a new Photoshop challenge. So come on over and hang out. Let's jump into this challenge. First, let's just read the prompt. Variables in Photoshop create multiple options from one image using spreadsheets and variables in Photoshop. Okay, so I'm gonna have to explain a little bit about how variables work. So I'm just gonna do this real simply. We're gonna have a Photoshop document. Oh, this is terrible. We're already on a rough start. A Photoshop document. This is our .psd, and we're gonna put placeholders in our document. These little boxes are the placeholders, and then we will have a spreadsheet that is full of data sets. And this is our .csv. comma separated values, and we're going to have data sets that inform what these placeholders will show in the document. And you can have multiple data sets in your spreadsheet so that you can have multiple Photoshop. That's supposed to be an infinity sign. multiple variations from the same Photoshop document. So that's that. Let's trash all of this so we can really get into it. And I started this as a little project. This is just a little project to kind of demonstrate how these variables work. It's a little bit based off of a tabletop role-playing game that I had sort of a hobby of mine. Let's go ahead and get started. I made a background that I want to use for this. And this is just to help me with text layout. And I'm gonna go ahead, we don't need to rasterize this, so we're good. Oh, sorry about that. So we have to label these layers so that we know what variable they will be referring to. So you'll see you will see variable 1. I'm going to say variable a lot today, so just be prepared. I'm going to go ahead and start with a type layer. I did not mean to make that. There we go. All right, let's name this variable. And there'll be a lot of typos too, so just be prepared. Be prepared. I'm going to go ahead and trash 2 of these layers that I did not mean to make. And don't worry about typesetting or changing how these look. We can do that at any time later. So I'm going to press T again, and I'm going to type. It's going to be massive. Variable 2. And then I'm going to take this. I'm going to go ahead and, since that is so large, I'm going to go ahead and jump into our character panel and make this 12 point and noble. And we have, let me see if I can turn my notifications off so that we don't hear that. Sorry about that. Okay, back to this. What are we doing? Putting this back to somewhere manageable. 14 point, 16 point, somewhere in there. I want this to be book, I think. No, regular. There we go. I don't know, 18 point, something like that. Doesn't matter. We can reset it later, like I said. But this is going to be our second variable. And then I'm going to press T on our keyboard and grab, just click and drag with the type tool to create some lorem ipsum, which I'm just going to let propagate. And then I'm going to name this variable, which I guess I'll keep the format the same. It doesn't really matter, like I said, as long as these are linked correctly, it's not going to matter what they are called. So that's variable. We can't see that, so I'm going to adjust that by, actually I just want to select I have the wrong thing there. There we go. Spelled variable wrong already. So we're off to a great start. There we go. Set this down to like 12. Okay, looks fine. I'm going to change this spelling. There we go. All right, so far we have our variable set. We don't have, these are text replacement variables, or what they're going to be. I want to have a pixel replacement variable. So I'm going to also bring in an image. This image is just a placeholder. You could literally fill a rectangle and make sure that it's rasterized, and that would work as a placeholder. It doesn't have to have any information in it. So I'm going to grab this, make this, set this in here, somewhere in there. Looks fine. I will adjust variable 1 slightly. Okay, now we can worry about how to assign these variables. I do need to rasterize this. I'm going to rasterize it and name it, because Photoshop is going to be looking for indicators of pixels, and the Smart Object will not let that happen. So I'm going to name this pixel variable 1. There we go. Pixel variable 1. And now I want to come over to image variables define. And this is where we start to really set everything up. So we have, you can see all of our layers are in the layer section of this. And we can start defining these variables. I don't want visibility as a variable. All of these will be visible. You can use visibility to turn things on and off based on the data from your spreadsheet, but we only want text replacement. And this is why I named these, because this says variable 1. I want it to be the replacement text for text variable 2. And if you notice, there's a little asterisk that shows up when I connect the two, and you'll see it also in our layer list. So I'm just going to go down the line and start creating these: text variable 2, text variable 3, and then pixel variable gives us a pixel replacement, which again, connect that. And then you can name all of these to, if you wanted, I'll get back to that. There's different methods to putting, to assigning the bounding box, because this is going to make, like I said, a placeholder. And if you set it to fill and you use the clipping bounding box, it will essentially act like a mask for the image. And you can scroll through these, and they also give you the definition of what they do. For what we need, we just need to have it be set to fit. But yeah, real quick, you can name these anything you want. If you name this, if you name whatever you change this name to is what's important, because that's what your spreadsheet has to be named. It's not going to know where to find the info if it's not the exact same name. So I'm going to leave this up for now at variable 1, and I'm going to jump into our spreadsheet. I am using Google Sheets for this, and I just you can use any spreadsheet editor that you would like. I'm going to do a little basic formatting because I just want to let everyone know that this top layer is not a variable. This is, well, it is a variable. It's just defining, it's linking everything in the column. And so if you want to be really precise and make sure you don't have any spelling errors, you can copy and paste or control, oh wow, Control C, there we go. And then hop back into our spreadsheet, and you can just type it out. It's not that big a deal. Type this out. And the good thing about this, if I want to drag this out, it will name the next two for me. So we already have those columns set. And then if you want, I'll just type this one out. Pixel, I will probably spell it wrong, and it will all go horribly, but let's find out. Pixel variable 1. So let me just double check and make sure that's what this one is linked as. So yeah, and just in case, Control C, Control or Command C, come back to it. I think we're fine, but I'm gonna do it just in case. Okay, now important part of this is linking the documents you want to replace the placeholders. Wow, what a sentence. And I'm going to make sure that we're using the correct location for that by selecting these and copying the paths of where these exist. So it's either going to be your hard drive or whatever destination that your images exist. It's a little tricky doing this. You might have to look this up just to kind of get it in your head, and definitely make sure you. So I'm trying to copy the path where this exists. If you right click on one of them now, you don't have that option. But if you press shift click, right click, oops, I did that again. Hold on just a minute. Open this quite a bit. And I pressed enter and not shift. If you shift right click, you get a copy as path option. That's the option we're looking for. So if you right click shift and release, you'll get the copy as path option. That's what we're looking for. But anyway, you can get this path it's fine. As a note there, if you do this as a single, if I right click as a single, oh man, I did it again. I keep pressing enter instead of shift. If you do this as a single and I paste this into our pixel variable, it will give you little quotation marks around it. You don't want that. You got to get rid of the quotation marks and you'll be fine. But I just wanted to note that. So now that I have my location for the pixel variables, because these will all change out for that placeholder. I also have just by our name, by the image name, I know what to call these. I had text variable 2 set up for my names, so I'm just going to type all these out real quick. There will probably be typos, like I said. And then for I considered text variable 1 to be my title or indicator of what these characters are. So I'm going to call, let's see, that champion, companion. This Mingo can also be a companion. I'll just drag this down. And we have a villain. Okay, so text variable 3, I'm not actually doing anything with, like I'm not changing it, but if this were a real project that we were doing, I'll click OK, we can come back to this. I'm just grabbing, copying and pasting my lorem ipsum from there, but you would have this as a description to, every one of these being different, they would have a different descriptor, but I'm not going to be that I don't know, precise, I guess, on this one. But I am just going to copy this to all of these. And now we have our file to save. So from here, I want to come to the download, comma separated values are .csv. I'm going to copy this to our location, which I'll just navigate for fun. We're going to save this actually right here as hero pages, sheet 1, save. Okay. So now we've saved it. Now let's cross our fingers and see if this actually works. Get off of that. So I'm gonna go to image variables, define. We've already defined them. They are still right here. We're gonna hop over to data sets, and you can import right here. Right now we have no data sets. It says it, no data set. We're gonna import the data set. From here you select the location. You have to make sure that you change your file type to CSV. Select it. This is all our data over here. Click load. There's different encoding if you need that. Everything else set default is fine. This replace existing data sets is important so that when you bring in a new file or an updated file, it will replace the old one. Very important, because if you don't click OK, it won't happen for you. But now we can check, we can scroll through this by clicking this way, clicking right here, either way, or selecting. You can go and select a data set. So now we've made it. We've made it happen. We've got our little sheet going. Everything is good. Just as a note, it shows you what every variable has with it, and it'll just highlight, and you can scrub through the different variables. So if you had more text, you could actually read the text in this little box. and you can just select whatever data sets you want. You can also apply the data set. So if I hit apply here and click OK, we now have it set to this. It did change our names, but just to let you know, even though it changed the name, it's really interested in what the layer is defined as, because when we go back, you'll see that we're still connected. It still has a little asterisk and it's still selecting text variable 1. So that doesn't really matter. That's what I was saying earlier about the layers not necessarily having to be the same name. I wouldn't want to do it this way. I'd want to make sure it said title or something. But I am going to come back up here and just change that back. So just so that we're back at square one. And now if you wanted to make changes, layout changes, text changes, how things are set up, you still can. I'm going to come in here and apply ye old title to our variable 1. Oh yeah, double click. So now we have a little bit of style on there, and we can take a look at what that looks like. Where are our data sets? Maybe I need to re-import. Let me see if they're still defined. Okay, they are still defined. Let's go back and re-import these. Okay, all right, we're good to go. All right, so now you can see it with the title treatment. And those are just layer styles that are applied to a layer saved in my library. So I'm going to click OK, but maybe we want to go back and add some more. So let's do that. Let's bring up our document. And let's bring up our folder. And I'm not going to do any of this from Photoshop. I'm going to do all of this just from the document. And I want to shift, not hit enter, shift and release to get copy as path. Boom. Coming over to our pixel variable, click that. Name these out just like we did before. The solution, the trickster. I'm going to name this outcast. And then we can drag, let's see, we can go companion, villain, and companion. And I'm going to type this, change this to capital just because that's how I do things. Let me look at chat, see if there's any questions. If you make a change, you have to make, yes, you do have to resave. Clarissa's asking if you make a change, do you make the change in Photoshop or Excel? You make the change only here. You have to save the document out for the formatting, but you do have to make changes for the spreadsheet if you want to re-import, which is what we're about to do right here. So I'm going to download this again as a .csv, click and just replace, yes. So even though I had just replaced it, if I come back to my data sets, and it's still drawing from the same spreadsheet, if I come back to data set, you'll notice we only have 4. It's still retaining the previous data set, even though it's saying it's reading that document. But because we changed the document, we have to re-import. So we're going to import again, and then we are selected on the right file just to verify we are. Click load, click OK. And now when we come over to data sets, we have all 7. So click OK. And if you wanted the, oh, well, we could scroll through them to verify, I suppose. Why not? So as we're going through this, you can just see that you have all of these things that we just added. These were all new. So click OK. You have to click OK to verify, otherwise it would revert back to that. If I hadn't clicked OK, it would still say only 4 are uploaded. So you have to import it, click OK, and then click OK again to confirm the data set. All right, so now we have these files, we have these data sets. They're not files or anything. They're just sitting there waiting to be used for something. So let's do this. What format? Robert's asking what format have the data set. I remember. I have mine spreadsheet saved as a comma separated values. That works for Photoshop. I would assume it works the same for Illustrator, but someone in the Discord can definitely verify that for you, I'm sure. So I want to come down to export, and I'm going to export data sets as files so we can have these files to do something with. We have our dialog here that says select a folder, which is exactly what we'll do. I want to put these in hero pages and back up. Yeah, so select folder. You can export one of the data sets or all of the data sets. We want all of them. I've named these NPCs, non-player characters, and I've put a number behind them, so it'll be 1 through however many I have. And we're all good to go for compatibility. Click OK. Photoshop's going to do its thing, and then we're going to pop in here and take a look. If it made our files, it did. I will open one of them to verify. And look, we have a file that we've output. It's awesome. Let's do something more with it. Now that we have those, we can, let's say this is actually a real thing and I want to give a handout to people, or I make a link to a PDF that people can download. We can also use automate PDF presentation, and then we can go into browse, and then go up to our files in our hero pages, grab all of them, click open. It's going to bring them in here. You can rearrange these if you want, if you know, for whatever reason, or you can just sort by name. From there, I don't really need any of this information that I have here. I'm going to make a multi-page document, and I'm just going to save it. It's going to ask me where to save it to. I'm going to bring it back to our folder, name this hero pages, I don't know, whatever. Click save. It's going to ask me where to save PDF, just the save PDF options. Photoshop's going to do its thing. We're going to take a minute with that. And from there, we can take a look at our PDF. We'll open this up. And now we have a little document we can send to people if we wanted to for game night or whatever it might be. I don't know, it's a lot of fun figuring out ways to use this. This was a very rudimentary way to use this. I am quite aware of that. But it was a lot of fun, and I hope you guys learned a little bit about how to use variables in Photoshop. Again, tomorrow we will be diving into the Discord and all of the challenges that we've done for the past week. If there are any questions about this or any of the other challenges, you can ask in the Discord. You can hit me up on my socials. I'll be streaming this evening on my own Behance page if you want to ask questions there. That we got you covered is what I'm trying to say. But tomorrow we will be having Community Day, and I hope you guys come back for that. Please stick around for all the live content that is coming up, and we hope to see you soon. Have a good one, everybody. Bye.